Maddie is out here being a whole madam, and I need to talk about it.
Pick me up in the McLaren, Daddy.
Annie, in fact, is not okay. I just honestly want to.
Hey, sweet peas, welcome back to My Sweet Perspective. If you're new here, my name is Ashley, and this is My Sweet Perspective, where I give my take on all the things TV and movie related. Y'all know I am here to put you on. And listen, this episode took us to Reunited, and it feels so good. It took us to the Alamo, and it took us to Rehab, you guys. A lot to talk about in this episode, but I don't know if it landed all of the points for me. So, real quick, before we get into the events of episode 2, let's quickly recap what happened in episode 1. We know that Rue crossed the Mexican border as a mule, honey. Rue the mule, we found out that she owed Lori somewhere in the neighborhood of $43 million after interest accrual. We saw her swallowing balloons. She and Faye, instant friends. A girl named Tish passed by some Fenty lace dope that Rue had delivered to Alamo. And we had a Garden of Eden apple on the head moment, if you will, where Rue was saved. All right. And then finally, Alamo Brown enters the picture. He runs 5 strip clubs, and this is Rue's new mentor, if you will. So a lot happened, but not so much. Let's get into the events of episode 2. And let's start with Maddie's situation, honey. Maddie came to Hollywood with a suitcase and a dream to make things happen and ended up living in the projects with racks full of clothes. All right. She goes to work. Miss Pinsler, I thought their little meet cute was fun. You could tell that she was determined. She said, listen, I'm not a victim. I'm not sensitive. I'm not going to be an HR issue. And I'm a capitalist. So put me on, gang. Puts her on. Again, Miss Pinsler is this Hollywood agent, well-to-do. But getting here, she realizes I'm not going to make any money. Soon after she gets hired, the Demi hits, and so she's stuck at home. And she goes into something that she's all too familiar with. Now, again, I always viewed Maddie as on-air talent, not behind the scenes. But hey, she changed my mind over here because she's pimping them hoes. We meet Caitlin, who was her first real client, who eventually gets really big, and she misses out on an opportunity because she was trying to mix her worlds and her boss didn't like that. Now, Caitlin, social media influencer, but also an OnlyFans girl. And, Maddie wanted to monopolize on that. Like, you're fine. You can just sell a little cat on the side. As long as they don't see your face, honey, as long as it's done tastefully, we can do nudity illusion. But really on her way to getting a bag again until Miss Pinsler finds out and she's brutally rebuffed and has to put her client down. A year later, we see Caitlin signing $700,000 deals and having to figure out what's going to happen. I will say the thing that stood out most in these first early scenes was this Dylan. Dylan is introduced to Caitlin by Maddie. Of course, that's how Miss Pinsler finds out. But Dylan is a problem. Dylan is a diva, and I can't wait to see if we get more into his story. They keep showing him. And again, Tyra told us last week in our live discussion that that's Richard Gere's son. So I know he's not over here for just no reason. Maddie, again, is a damn madam. She's out here taking commissions. And I want to know, is monetizing relationships survival or exploitation? Because we find out eventually, Cassie goes ahead and sends that hey big head DM to Maddie, and Maddie says, this is my prime time. This is my one shot. Do not miss your chance to, Eminem vibes. And she meets with her at the country club. Now, here's what got me. Maddie in the summertime wearing this fur coat. Sister, everything is not a fashion moment. And we could have had a fashion moment without that hot ass fur. We're at the pool, honey, poolside. So anyway, Cassie had sent the text because she wanted to meet, but really because she wanted Maddie's expertise in the social media OnlyFans game. And Maddie has to present as if she's that girl. She parks up the street and walks in to meet Cassie, and Cassie is befuddled because Maddie, girl, why do you look so damn good? You're looking like a success. You're looking like money. And again, that's the impression that Maddie wanted to give. We can hear her inner thoughts and her inner monologue. And basically, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna use this hoe. She still doesn't know who she is. She's still willing to be anything and everything for anybody but herself because she's so desperate for attention. And I'm gonna monopolize on that. Again, I don't necessarily view this as exploitation because Cassie was gonna do it anyway. Also, that's still not really her friend. Like they kept it cute. Cassie apologizes, but it was real because he's the love of my life and I'm going to be marrying him. And Maddie's like, all right, yeah, I forgive you, girl, if I can get a cut. If I can get a bag, we can do whatever we need to do. Immediately, I know where this is going. Already feel it. A bag is going to be had, and Maddie is going to be collecting her percentage. And Cassie's just a lost something out here. I'm not calling her a lamb. I'm not calling her a sheep because she's willfully doing it. She knows exactly what she's doing. But what really got me, honey, was the cooch and the dirty feet. Disgusting. The baby content, like I hate everything about this. But again, this is for someone's sick mind who turns them on. And yes, I'm king shaming because vile and disgusting, just like her friend said. Again, Cassie or Maddie's like, so what are you willing to do? What are your dreams? I see you doing here and you look desperate. You look thirsty. It looks dry as the Sahara. And I need you to fix that. If you want to be a commodity out here in these streets, it's going to have to give something other than that. Again, her insecurity is something that Maddie's going to play with. Maddie has known Cassie for their entire lives. And I'm just very interested to see where we're going. Again, the most disturbing thing about this storyline is that Maddie's not wrong about Cassie. And that's what makes this is kind of sad instead of funny. Sad in that Cassie will perpetually be in this situation unless she gets some real help. Honey, because seek help. Now we're over here to Nate, and Nate has caused a mess of his own, and we actually see Cal. Rest in peace, Eric Danes. I really wonder if this was really the last thing he wanted to be known for. Gosh, this show is just such a mess. So Nate is out here, and he is in 500 and I believe $50,000 debt to a loan shark because he's trying to keep everything afloat. He's trying to give Cassie this home, this dream wedding. He's trying to put on for his friends. He is just burying himself. So now he's looking for investors, but we see him with this guy Nas and his Jonathan Taylor Thomas haircut. And Nate needs to get a grip. He's trying to keep up with the Joneses and he really has no clue. Again, next we see Cal come over to visit the house. We see that he's a broke sexual deviant who narrowly avoided jail. I still don't know how he avoided jail. They didn't give us all that tea, but we need it. The loan shark is telling Nate, you need to have $100,000 here by Friday, or, I'm going to start busting kneecaps, is what felt like it to me. Cal says he's not the same man. And he and Nate kind of have this little vapid conversation around, Dad, you're gay. You lived in the closet. You were secretive. And Cal saying, I'm not gay. I just like what I like. I was a hedonist and I'll screw anybody I want to. Meanwhile, hitting on Juana, the maid. Vile, disgusting. I really don't know what his point is being here. Again, he was one of the biggest developers. The business now is in Nate's hands, but he's not offering any assistance. He's not offering to help in the situation, and Nate's not asking him for any help. As much of a deviant as he is, he was able to run a successful developing business all of this time. I would think he would talk to him and see, how do I get out of this hole that I'm in? Apparently, he can't get the zoning, the permits to build, whatever. And so he decides he's going to host a party to get some investors to invest in this funeral home. And in my eyes, it's a scam. So while Nate's working the room, acting like he's got all this money, all this bravado with his rich friends, getting investors, Cassie is over here showing the wives her OnlyFans content. And one of the wives is so disgusted and so disturbed, he tells her husband, like, we need to get out of here. This is too much. I don't know if they're having money troubles. She says that Nate can't afford the flowers for the wedding. And so while all this is going, while Nate's trying to build up, Cassie's tearing down. This is a recipe for disaster. This is going to cause resentment. And sooner or later, we're going to see full Nate come out. I saw a piece of Nate come out when he said he was going to kill the maid. But outside of that, I just really feel like this is a mess. Gives her an ultimatum. If you cancel your OnlyFans, if you delete it, I will find the money for the flowers. Nate, you can't even find the 100,000 before Friday. You can't even find it before Friday. The Jacobs men will always choose a bag and a secret over everything else. And I guess that's the family curse with them. But I'm so over Nate. I'm so over Cal. I'm so over Cassie. Honestly, let's get on down the road. Rue and Alamo's world. Now back to Rue, who's now the cleanup woman because she's cleaning up every trace of Tish, the stripper who passed last week. And now she is trying to be fully on payroll. Alamo ultimately talks to Lori and is like, listen, you killed one of my bees. I'm taking one of yours. Rue is mine. We have to get this racist interlude from Lori's partner, I assume. And he says, Rue's ours, and, hardy gar. And Alamo's like, yeah, no, I'm going to take her. And Lori says, you're a pig, and hangs up the phone. This pig thing is going to take us to heights and new levels that I didn't even know we needed to go to. So Rue puts in her work and she's doing everything that she needs to do to get into Alamo's good graces. She starts working at the club and we meet Big Eddie, okay? AKA Professor Wayne, poor Professor Pookie. Dwayne Wayne from a different world. This made my night, honey. Kadeem Hardison is over here playing the big man in the strip club, managing the hoes. And so we see that introduction, and I absolutely loved it. And he sets the ground rules with Rue. No screwing, no doping, no any of that on the club hours. And if you keep the hoes happy, we'll be a-okay. All right. So Rue is over there making, her bed to lie in, but she meets stripper Angel because there's not a coochie Rue has seen that she does not want or does not like. So she hooks up with one of these strippers, Angel. And this is probably one of the moments that really took me out of the episode. I don't know if it was this actress who's playing Angel. I don't know if it was her acting. I don't know if that was the direction that they gave, but she really rubbed me the wrong way. It really took me out of the moment as far as her grief around Tish, that explosion that she has in the parking lot, the use of the N word with Alamo and his guys. I don't know. I don't know if I'm not feeling the character, if I'm not feeling the portrayal, or if that's really how they wanted it to come across. But again, Rue's going to find some damaged damsel to become entangled with. And so they hook up hot and heavy in the car. At some point, she starts questioning where Tish is, and Rue finally has to tell her the truth. From that moment on, she spirals. And again, this is Rue kind of on the outside looking in. Rue says, I've never been on this side of it, of addiction and seeing Angel spiral. Alamo is like, take the hoe to the rehab. We got it set up. I own 5 of these clubs. I know the routine. We got it on lock. And Rue's like, you'll actually pay for that? Yeah. He said, I have them on speed dial. And so we talk Angel into going after we have her little meltdown, and we get her there and set her up. Now, as far as Alamo, he can't get over this pig comment. He says he's the one who put Lori on when she was just a crackhead from the burbs. So he didn't like that and he has to get his justice. Ultimately, he delivers a pig to her house at the end of the episode that says, remember the Alamo. And Alamo delivered a pig and a philosophy lesson all in one. And I need somebody to explain to me why Rue laughs in the face of danger every single time. I think she's Simba. Because there's no way, Rue, this is really the life that you want. At one point, she gets to talk to Maddie and they're having a sit down. And Rue's like, yes, I just love the club more than anything. Now, I know last week some people were saying that Maddie is going to end up working at one of the clubs. I think this could be the point of it all, but we shall see. And they kind of start reminiscing on high school and everything. Now, to get to the moment that I wanted to get to, because this was probably the most fulfilling moment or the most confusing moment of the episode. And that is where we see Rue, after she drops off Angel at rehab, she reconnects with Jules in her deluxe apartment in the sky, honey, paid for by Sam from the True Blood. Even though we haven't seen him, I did see the super trailer and saw him there finally. And so now we get over here, and outside of the weird CGI skyline, which really whatever, it was good to see them reunited. But was it reunited and it feels so good? They're flirting, they're catching up. Jules is basically like, we just can't really forget the past. Did you forget? Like, we can't just brush everything under the rug. Things were said, things happened. Rue is like, yeah, so there goes our whirlwind romance. And Jules is like, yeah, I don't think my boyfriend would like that. She was like, boyfriend? Or sugar daddy. I mean, look at this place. And Jules is like, he's just not using it. So he's like, well, where is he? If he's not using this place, where does he live? At home with his family. And we find out Jules does not believe in monogamy at this point, and that she doesn't believe that anyone is supposed to be with just one person. And there's kind of some tension. We found out also earlier that Rue and Jules had connected within this 5-year window, but then Rue went on a whole entire bender, and I guess it was really bad and hadn't talked to her since. As the scene ends with Rue and Jules getting in the tub talking about, do you want to join me? Rue's a man. She's gonna hop all over. Rue's worse than a man, honestly, at this point. I don't know. Do I need to see them together? No, because I think that Rue is still so toxic. We find out in this episode, like I said, and I know a crackhead when I see one, that she was still in active addiction. She's functioning, but she says she ain't been clean. She's just managing it now and functioning in society, whatever that looks like. Now, where this Jules and Rue thing will end, because you know they're hooking up, I don't know, because Jules still got a whole man who's paying all of her bills. And Rue will be back at the strip club, probably with another stripper at some point. Y'all, in a nutshell, that's what happened in the episode. Jules is living her truth. I suppose if drug addiction is her ultimate truth, I really want to see more. I really want to see a stripped down version of Rue or any kind of world where we get her to see her really be her. I think we got glimpses of it in this episode, but again, she can't be trusted because she's in active addiction. Now, as far as the episode overall, you know, I've always loved the Maddie character. I think she delivers. I think her and Cassie, I feel like she carried every scene that she was in, even at times with Rue, which I thought was interesting, but she did great. The only things that really took me out fully of the episode was again that Angel character. I seen the words, all of it just really threw me off. And of course, the little skyline, but that's just what it is. But I thought they had money. This is HBO. This is Euphoria. I know y'all got a cute coin and y'all could have did that better. I don't know. It was just very odd to me. Anyway, as far as my sweet pea rating, and I'm introducing it now, we have a sweet pea rating, honey. Out of 5 sweet peas, 5 being the best, one being, child, don't even watch that. I'm gonna give this episode a cute 2.5, 3 sweet peas. The Maddie storyline alone, I absolutely love. Y'all know I love a good origin story or, you know, how we got it out the mud and now we're here. I love that. I did not like the angel acting. I did not enjoy that at all. Other than that, I'm just really curious about where we're going with the story. Are we going to sit here? Is there going to be any more movement? I'm really ready for the happening to happen, but y'all drop it in the comments and let me know what you think. Hot take corner, Maddie as a madam is actually the most logical thing I can see. She was always running the girls back in the day. She is a boss, and this has always been, I guess, her underlying desire outside of just being a kept woman. I really have enjoyed Maddie's evolution over these 3 seasons. Rue is not getting sober this season. I think we can just cast it off as a foregone conclusion. I think she will remain forever and always a certified crackhead. And then as far as Cassie and Nate, they ultimately deserve each other. They deserve each other, but I fear this is going to get dark very fast. Drop it in the comments. Let me know if you have any predictions for this season. What do you think is going to happen in episode 3? Where do we go from here? And out of 1 to 5 sweet peas, how would you rate this? That's my sweet perspective on Euphoria season 3, episode 2. If you enjoyed yourself over here, be sure to hype, be sure to like, be sure to comment, be sure to subscribe, okay? Join the sweet peas. And y'all know all my links are in the description. Follow me on all the socials. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next video.